Alright, so welcome back to a new one on this channel. In this one, we need to talk about sampling and the SP-404. Now, we can do a lot of things like sample from an external source, like a synthesizer, or maybe sample from an existing pad that we have right here, or maybe sample ourselves just playing, or just simply go to pattern select, maybe just play a pattern, and whatever is coming out of this, you can record it into a pad. So we're going to do all of this. I have a synthesizer connected to the back, right here at the back, to the input left and right. You could also use the inputs right here in the front, but they are more suited for guitar or instrument type of mics. Now, if I play a synthesizer and I'm playing, notice that the sequencer is going, we cannot hear it. Well, so at this point, well, we are not recording. You can do external source and you can audition whatever it is that it's coming in. That's one way. I'm going to tap this and I'm going to stay in sample mode and I'm going to go to the day where I'm going to be storing whatever it is that we record. Now right here I'm going to be pressing rec and notice that it's asking me to select the pad to start recording. I'm going to do it again so you can see the message. Select pad for recording. Now the thing is that right here we have some options like changing the level. This is the controller 3 and this is the level of the input. And the other thing is going to be the BPM. Now before we record something, you can go to record settings and you can have some other options. So right here you have the BPM, you have the routing, and you also have the level, which is the same options that we get on the other screen when we are not inside the record settings. But if I go there, and again, we can just fine tune the BPM. If you need to do fine adjustments, you can do shift and move the control 1. Then you have the level, which is again the same thing than before, but right here you can control the panning. So if I play it back, I can just get the left or just can get the right if you're using a stereo signal and not a mono signal. Still, if I go all the way down, notice that it's hard pan and then hard pan right. Cool. And all of this is just pretty simple. Let me just put it center. There we go. So while this is going, you can tap tempo, whatever is that you're trying to sample. If you go to shift, you can just tap the tempo and just, select the tempo for whatever is that you want to sample. Because this is going to be the tempo. Let me just do it with the other hand. So I guess it's 120, that's fine. Now I'm going to be doing exit and we're going to get out of the rec mode. You can access this record settings way before you do rec. For example, you can go to shift and do external source. And when you tap it, notice that we are back to this screen without recording. So yeah, you can do it before you start recording. And once everything is ready, then what you want to do is to record it to a pad. Now, notice at the top that you have an option that says routing. This one is going to be external in or it's going to be mix. What is the difference? When you're using external in, you're just sampling whatever that goes in at the back or, maybe right here at the front. So you're just recording the external input. Now, when you go to mix, what you record is going to be whatever that goes inside, external input, and whatever this is playing back. So you could be playing a synthesizer and then playing a pattern and you record everything all at once. Let me stop the sequencer for now. We are going to be doing external in, and then in a couple minutes, we're going to do the mix. Alright, so enough introduction. I'm going to be going out of here. And how you start sampling whatever external source depends on your count in settings. We have off, which is going to be right away, 1 measure, then 2 measures, and we have the weight. In this case, for this for external sources, I much prefer to use the weight. So I'm just going to use the weight. Now, when you play rec and select the pad, whatever is that it's playing back will be recorded into that slot. Let's say I want to store it on this one, I'm going to tap it, and since I'm using wait, now the SP-404 is awaiting for an input, is awaiting for a signal. Since my synthesizer is off, it's not playing back, this is not detecting any level, so it's not doing any recording. And at the top, you can see that it says standby, so it's just not doing anything. I'm going to be playing my synthesizer in 3, 2, 1. And notice that it's detecting the input and now it's recording. And we can easily notice that it's recording because it says rec and it's just blinking. Now when you're done recording, you're satisfied, you can press the pad where you're recording or you can do rec to stop the sampling. I'm going to do pad and it says rec completed. And now if I go to this, you can hear that we just sampled whatever it is that you're trying to sample. Cool. I'm gonna go to exit, and if you want to delete the sample, we just do it the usual way, because now this is part of the 16 gigabytes of memory of the SP-404. I'm gonna do delete, and I'm gonna delete the sample. What about the other modes? I'm gonna go to shift, I'm gonna hold it, and I'm gonna change it to off. So my count in now is off, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna be going to rec, it's awaiting, and I'm gonna be selecting a pad, but notice this is still on standby, and my synthesizer is not playing. It's not playing. But if I do rec, it will start recording, right? It doesn't care if what my count in is, or if there's a signal going on. If I now just play it, and then I just stop it, it's going to record that silence. I'm going to be pressing the pad so it can process the sample. And if I go to the sample, notice that we have a lot of silence, then the synthesizer, and then silence again. I'm going to exit this screen, I'm going to set delete, I'm going to delete the sample, and now I'm going to be changing my count in mode to maybe 2 measures, because, yeah, it's longer. And we do the same trick. I'm going to go to rec, it's not playing, my synthesizer is not playing, and I'm going to select the pad, and it works just like before. If I do record, it's going to count in for 2 measures. Even if I'm just playing, it will not record it. It will start recording when the 2 measures are done. Now, I'm showing you all of this because you need to really be aware of your count in before you start sampling. Alright, so I guess you got it. I'm gonna be just processing it, and I'm gonna be deleting all of this. I'm gonna show you something else. I'm gonna do shift and external source so we can go to record settings, and if I play my synthesizer, we can, hear the input. Now, what you can do with the push, notice it says input effects. So if I push it, it's going to let you select an effects for the input. So you can process and, of course, sample whatever other sound that is going to this device, and you can apply an effects. By default, you get nothing, but you can select, if you select something, you can maybe do an auto pitch, all the different effects that you get with the MFX. You can just use it. And that is maybe the chorus, reverb. It sounds cool. So now if I select this, right, I'm gonna leave it right here. I'm gonna go out, and we can hear the synthesizer going into the effects. So if we record it, and I'm gonna go to wait, we start recording. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna select the pad, and it's just recording, and everything will be recorded with that effects. It's something that you just cannot remove. I'm gonna stop it so we can complete the record, and if I play it, you can hear that it has that effects. Alright, so that's how you can sample from an external input. So I'm standing in sample mode. We can still go to shift and then the settings. And notice that the settings, of course, we will get the, what we just discussed. But if you go to external in, you're just recording the external source. If you go to mix, you're recording whatever it is that you play back here and whatever is coming out or maybe just going in from an external source. I'm going to stand on sample mode, and I'm going to make sure, I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to make sure that my count in is going to be wait. And it's because I want to record whenever I start playing the pads. Now in sample mode again, I need to press the resample, and then it says select a pad where you want to record. I'm going to go to the J, I'm going to select the first one. And then it says press a pad to start. It's waiting for me to do something. So if I go maybe to the F, and there you go. So if you want to keep it, you're gonna need to press rec. And if we go to the sample, we get it. Cool, right? Way too easy. What if you want to record a pattern so you can use it in just one single pad? Of course you can. Now I'm going to be changing the count in mode. For this one, I think off is the best option. And I'm going to be going to pattern select. So right here, we just could play whatever pattern we want. And right here, we just need to do a resample. And then it is pretty much the same idea. It's asking for you to select a pad where you want to store whatever pattern that you're going to be playing back. And then you're going to be doing maybe selecting that one, and it takes you back to selecting a pattern. Let's say I want to record the one. As soon as I do it, it's going to start recording. The sub pad, remember, whenever you play patterns, you can change manually to the next one, or maybe just whatever other pattern. Now, when we are done, if I do a rec, it's going to process, and whatever we recorded, we have it. We get it. Now, Alright, so everything else about the sample is going to be the editing of the sample, but this is something else I covered on a different video. Check the links at the description. Now, if I delete this, I'm going to get out. If I delete it, just select it. I'm going to delete. And I'm going to do the same trick. I'm going to be going to pattern select. I'm going to do a resample. I'm going to select the pad where I want to record. And then I just, maybe go here and just play that pattern. And then I say, oh, damn, this is not the one I wanted to record. If you press exit, it will exit without recording it. So yeah, rec confirms the sampling and burns it to the disk, and exit will just, get out without the recording. Now, what if you want to play a chain? Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just exit to show you the whole path. When you're inside of pattern select, I'm going to be going to resample. I'm going to say, this is where I want to sample. And now you need to select the chain. I'm going to go to hold. And you need to select the chain. I'm going to be selecting the number 1 because I know there's something right there. And as soon as I start playing, it doesn't say anything right here, but you have the rec and the resample on. So it's doing it. So whenever you want to stop it, if you want to exit, it will cancel. But if you do rec, it will say rec completed. It will stop everything. And if I go right here, you can hear that we get it. Okay, before we finish with all of this, I want to show you one more feature. It's called Skip Back Sample. It's a weird name. It's actually a cool feature. I guess we know it if you use DAW. We call it retrospective recording. Let's say that I do something like that, and this behind the scenes, it's silently recording or remembers whatever is I did right here. So it's just storing it in memory. Of course, it has a short memory. Now notice that the mark is blinking. So when it's blinking, it means that you have something in memory. Now, if you press mark, it's gonna say skip back, and it will show you whatever is that it can remember. And as you can see, it's very short what it can remember. Still, it's super powerful. Now, there's one thing that you need to do. If you press subpad, it will audition whatever it has in memory. Now, once you enter to the mark and you see the skip back, whatever is in memory, and you exit, is wiping the memory. And if I, for example, exit, I'm going to say, yes, current data would be lost. I'm going to say, okay. Notice that the mark is not blinking anymore. So now you have nothing in memory. Now I'm going to be standing on maybe whatever, and I'm going to start playing something. So notice that now the mark is blinking. So this means that it was, recording it. So if I want to keep it, you need to go to mark. And if you want to audition, you do the subpad, and you can hear it. So now the trick is that you want to take this and maybe assign it to a sample. And right here, you have the usual controls that you get to edit sample, selecting the starting and maybe the end. I'm going to be doing something like this. If I want to save this to a pad, I'm going to need to go to rec. If I do rec, it's going to ask me select the pad to save. I'm going to go to a place where, we have an empty slot. It's going to be maybe the number 1 on the J. I'm going to say yes. And now our operation is completed. And if I play it back, we get it. Okay, so that's it on this one. Everything else after you sample something is going to be about editing this sample. If you liked all of this and you learned something new, please like and subscribe. This channel is supported by viewers only. If you want to buy me a coffee, just to maybe say thanks and help the channel just keep going on, you have links at the description for PayPal, YouTube thanks, and Patreon.